So I just finished my interview with Mark Anthony Green. He is the writer and the director of the new film Opus, which comes to theaters on March 14th. As soon as I got off of that interview, I had to grab this camera, turn it on, and share some thoughts with you that are fresh, fresh on my mind. The first things first. Anytime that we do virtual interviews or any type of virtual press, a lot of times, hold on, I'm sorry, let me turn on Do Not Disturb so that you don't hear all that noise. Typically, we are asked, like, come into the Zoom, log into the Zoom 10 minutes early, log into the Zoom 15 minutes early. And then you get into the Zoom, and it's like, someone like me who, anytime I have an appointment of in any way, shape, or form, if I have an appointment, it creates anxiety. If I wake up this morning knowing that I have to go to a doctor's appointment, or I got to get my car checked out, or I have to do an interview, there is a level of anxiety that I wake up with in the morning, and I carry it until all of the tasks are completed. So, with that being said, when I have an interview scheduled and then you tell me to log in, I have very bad nervous energy. One day I'll give y'all a story time about why I stopped singing because I could not control my nervous energy. But staying on task, having to interview someone, I always get nervous energy, no matter how well prepared I am, no matter, and I just try to calm myself and calm myself. It just don't work because it just don't. Having to log into an interview 10, 15 minutes early, and then you're trying to, mentally prepare yourself like, okay, when this person comes, don't fumble your words. Don't look nervous. Don't let your hand shake. Don't let your voice tremble. Don't this, don't that. And then you get in, and at your scheduled interview time, you come in early, but then your scheduled interview time comes around, and then you get a message that says, oh, we're running behind. So now you're waiting, and you don't know at what point in time this person is going to pop up on the screen. And that's what happened to me when I interviewed Shaniqua Shandai. Yes, from Harlem. She popped up on my screen and caught me off guard. And now I'm a deer in headlights trying to grab my bearings and do an interview. So I was trying to prepare myself for that. Like, Mark is going to pop up on this screen at any point. But I'm in wellsfargo.com right now, paying bills, and he pops up. So immediately I shift over. I have my question on the side. I know I have 10 minutes. Let me tell you about the 10 minutes. Anytime you interview someone and you only have 10 minutes goes fast as hell unless you are in traffic trying to get somewhere on time or you are underwater. Other than that, 10 minutes is fast as hell. 10 minutes is fast as hell. So usually what happens is you get your 10 minutes, you ask a question. If the talent or the person that you are interviewing, if they are really passionate about what they're talking about, they are going to go and they are going to talk. And before you know it, your 10 minutes is up. So coming in, let me just take a moment to acknowledge Mark Anthony Green. He dope as fuck. Like, there's no other way to say it. Excuse my French or Espanol, whatever that is. Just excuse it. But that's the only way to describe this young man. And I'm going to call him a young man because I'm probably old enough to be his mom. He is just dope. He is dope as hell. He came into the interview. Now, luckily for me, he was looking at something on his phone because, of course, you have a huge movie dropping in theaters in less than a week. So I'm pretty sure your phone is blowing up. So he looks up and I go, hi, Mark. And he was like, hi. And something happened that usually never happens. Mark genuinely seems interested in the people that he's talking to. That rarely, hear me out, that rarely happens, that the talent seems genuinely interested in the person that they are actually speaking with. And the Lord has, with the kind of week that I had this week, like this, the Lord has really blessed me. And it's almost making me want to really get back into the interview game. After talking to Rico Ross yesterday, who was absolutely exquisite. I can't even get the word out. He was exquisite. And then I turn around and Mark automatically comes in the door. exuding a different type of energy. So I'm like, okay. But to be absolutely transparent, the fact that he was so welcoming caught me off guard and made me even more nervous because he was like, oh, and and I told him, I said, congratulations on the film, that it's definitely a conversation starter. The film definitely will have people talking. And he was like, okay. He was like, where are you at? Where are you located? And I was like, I'm in Atlanta. And I was like, I was at the screening last night because there was a screening at Atlantic Station and he was there. Now, he's a son of Morehouse College. So Morehouse pulled up for your boy. HBCUs pulled up for your boy. And it was just so cool. The Dream was there, who executive produced and worked on the soundtrack alongside Nile Rodgers. It was just a vibe, right? And you could tell that everyone in that room that knew Mark, like personally, loved that young man. Those who didn't know him personally were proud of him being a son of Morehouse, a HBCU graduate, just straight up ATL young man, right? So he asked me, he was like, okay, well, where are you at? And I'm like, I'm in Atlanta and I was at the screening last night. And he was like, oh man, so you literally saw that whole night flash before his eyes, like the love in the flash. And I told him, I said, listen, it was a beautiful thing to witness, seeing you get that love, seeing you get the flowers that you deserve. And he was like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. So then I went on to tell him, like, the film deals with media in a certain aspect, but it's not about media. The way he described it was like, He Got Game is not a film about basketball, but He Got Game is kind of like, right? Okay. So I was just telling him, like, ever since I saw the film, I've just been thinking about it because it's one of those films that you're going to watch it and everyone will have their own different interpretation of what he meant. So my question to him was, I said, listen, there are many different ways to interpret the film. You can have 10 different people look at one piece of art. Everybody's going to walk away with 10 different opinions. Is there one particular message that you wanted to make sure that everyone collectively gets from this film? Now, me being nervous, like we be like this, and I'm like, I want to sound intelligent. I'm literally talking to a filmmaker who could possibly end up winning an Oscar for this film. I don't know. But I just wanted to sound like I knew what I was talking about. And sometimes when I get nervous, I sound dumb. I'm just going to keep it a bean. Real dumb. I sound dumb. So with that being said, I feel like I articulated myself well. I don't think I fumbled over my words too much. But I asked him, what did he want us to take away from the film collectively? So, he kind of went into that. And Mark likes to talk too, like how I like to talk. But when I know I only got 10 minutes, I only prepared one question because I knew he liked to talk after watching last night. So I'm like, okay, that's, I'm going to ask my question, my 10 minutes, boom, 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 ready, set, go. So he said whatever he wanted to say. I want to make sure I let you guys watch that when it comes out, so I won't spoil it for you what he said. But then I, in turn, told him, watching the film as someone in media, I do celebrity news, I do entertainment, but sometimes I deal in, current events and regular news. And one of the things that I struggle with is that when someone does something egregious, a crime, something egregious, and then everybody writes about it in the headlines, it's like, are we making that person famous? Are we fulfilling the goal of that person by making them famous, by everyone's writing about what they did? Everyone's writing about how many people they harmed or how many people they hurt, and it's like, what I think that was the goal, was for all of us to end up talking about it. And I said, that was one of the themes that I took away from the film. One of the many layers of the film was that, sometimes in reporting, we can inadvertently fulfill the goal of the person who committed the heinous crime because we make them famous, even if we don't want to. Mark said, yeah, that could be, one of the things, I have to watch it back to see if like he really validated, like, yeah, that was one of the points. But he did say he enjoys watching how everyone interprets everything. But he immediately mentioned Luigi, who I immediately thought of when watching the film. So I wasn't all the way off base. Even if it wasn't what he was actually trying to push through in the film, the fact that he knew that was exactly the point and thought process I had, we connected somewhere. At the crossroads, we connected somewhere. So I felt good about that. But here's why I'm doing this video. When I told him, this is what I took from the film, because I really wish that I could just sit down and just really say, okay, well, I thought about this. This is what I thought about this. Was I off or was I on base? This is what I thought about this. Was I off or was I on base? Because, sometimes I can see the bigger picture and sometimes I can't. It just is what it is. As I'm telling him, I told him about, me and the headlines and inadvertently working into the whole game plan of the person who committed the crime. So he's responding to that. The thing comes up at the bottom. Your 10 minutes are up. So now he's still talking. I know that my 10 minutes are up and I'm supposed to go. But I'm like, I'm not going to interrupt this man while he's talking, while he's speaking. I'm not going to do that. So as long as he continues to talk, I'm going to keep nodding my head. I am not going to interrupt him. When he comes to a stopping point, I will just say, thank you. When he finally came to a stopping point, I thought to myself, okay, Mark, thank you so much for speaking to me today. I really appreciate your time. Mark Anthony Green stopped and said, did you get everything that you need? I said, well, I received the signal down at the bottom telling me my time is up and it's time to go. He said, but did you get everything that you needed? Are all your questions I need to go get my daughter, my middle girl, and be like, Mark, you like my middle girl? Because I want you as my son. That man, the sky is the limit for that man. And I'm going to tell you why I feel so strongly about it. In this industry, you don't see that often. You don't see that genuine energy. You don't get that often. And I think that's why I'm so moved by it. Like, I low-key a little bit kind of feel emotional a little bit, but I ain't going to be doing all that on the camera. And it's funny because, my best friend was like, you got to get back into doing these interviews and stuff. And I'm like, yo, I don't want to go through the hubbub of sitting in a Zoom and waiting and blah, blah, blah. Or the person come on and they only give you 10 minutes. Like, imagine trying to have a whole conversation with someone in 10 minutes about something incredible that they've done. So anyway, Mark was like, did you get what you needed? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm good. Because now my mind is thinking, I already came in this Zoom and had to wait an extra 5-10 minutes just for him to talk to me, which means someone behind me is waiting to talk too. So by me going over my time, I'm pushing them back too. Now, I'm sure that's a courtesy that other people probably like, 2 tears in a bucket. I'm in here talking to Mark, everybody for their own. Hunger Games, pledged to be a tribute. But I told y'all I try to be a good person. I told y'all in the other video, I just always try to do the right thing. So now I'm in a situation where he's like, you sure you don't have more questions? Which indicated to me that he wanted to continue to talk to me, which feels good to me coming into this space, nervous as a hoe in church. I don't know, y'all. It just did my heart good. So then I'm like, no, I'm good. I promise I'm good. I'm good. I said, so I tried to wrap it up like this. I just wanted the opportunity to tell you how much I appreciate you for making this film. Or I said something to that effect, because at that point I'm so blown away by his energy that I'm just scraping for words. Do you know, once he asked me, is there anything else? Whoever told me I need to go, someone else in the room was like, no, she can keep going. I can keep going. So now y'all done put me in a position where I wanted to give this young man well thought out questions. I didn't want to just be going off the top and then ask him something dumb. But And I know rule numero uno, have more than one question prepared. And I mean, I did, I had planned to talk about the screening last night and the love that he received. I was able to do that. I was able to talk to him about me being in media and how I saw one of the things that I struggle with in the film and how I interpreted that. I was able to do that. I was able to tell him congratulations on this film. I wanted to do that. Then Mark gonna turn around and ask me where I'm from or where I'm at. I think he asked me. I told him I was in Atlanta, but he asked me where I'm from. I told him I'm from Jersey. He was like, "Well, you talk like you from Atlanta." I started to say, "What you talking about, Shawty? What you mean? What you mean? I talk like I'm from Atlanta? What you mean, Shawty?" I told him, I said, "Listen, when I go home, my family call me country. All my cousins be dogging me, calling me country." But yeah, so shout out to you, Mark Anthony Green. You are one of a kind, just a good kind. You are a good kind that I don't see often and I don't get to encounter often. But God has been blessing me. I feel like big to big, because between him and Rico, between Mark Anthony Green and Rico Ross, I won this week in the interview space. I won and did. I won. So I appreciate all of you for even taking the time to hear me out and allow me to share these thoughts. But I had to get this off of my chest. All right. Have a great day.